I went to search for American Silver Eagles, mostly to see if the premium was still as ridiculous as 6 months ago, and I actually found out about the whole Type 1, Type 2 thing, but I also kind of, I guess you could say, got a bit more than I bargained for in the deal department because the very first ad I actually saw down here was advertising American Silver Eagles for $18.98. Keep in mind, silver spot price is over $24 an ounce. And these are coins that generally carry $10 to $15 premiums depending on the condition and whether they're type 1 or type 2, as well as the seller. All those things kind of factor in, but you never see these coins selling for under their melt value. So naturally, I had to see what exactly was going on here because if this was somehow legitimate, I mean, this would actually beat out even the cryptocurrencies for the best investment you could make in 2021 because you might have to spend what 5 or 10 minutes registering for an account on the website just to be able to literally turn around and sell these coins for double what you paid for them the second they come in your door. 10 seconds of your time to 2x any amount of money that you'd like, not to mention the fact that if you're willing to buy more coins, they actually offer even additional discounts as well. Look at this. If you were to buy 12 items, as they call it, or pick them, you would only pay for 10 of them. 24, you'd get then 4 free. So every, I guess, 12 items, or maybe every 10 that you're buying, you're getting a 2 additionally for free. I know for some reason my brain is having more trouble. I feel like they're not the ones that messed up on this end, but obviously an offer like that on top of literally the greatest deal in American Silver Eagle history seemingly just seems very, very suspicious. Not to mention the fact that the website's asking me to accept cookies in a different language, which I only note because of the fact that if this website has English text but then is based in another country, it's very possible that they're scamming US customers while operating outside of the United States jurisdiction, making it extremely hard for them to ever be prosecuted. In reading through the descriptions, I did notice the use of the English language, while it certainly was perfectly acceptable, it was kind of awkward in certain places, just to imply that, at the very least, this website was written by a person who English is not their first language, maybe even potentially Google translated. But what I do know is that in the product description here, there's actually a really weird discrepancy that I'm not sure if it comes from the language barrier or maybe just an error on their part. But you can see that the notice tries to really push the scarcity of these coins, excuse me, saying that you can only buy 80 per customer, which is not a very low limit, but obviously it is something that would make you feel like, oh, well, they're limiting this item because it's such a great offer. But then it goes on in one of the check marks to say only 80 pieces left at this price, implying that the current total available quantity left is 80. This never updates, so I'm assuming that they meant to say you can only buy up to 80 at this price. But again, I think that maybe the language barrier just kind of got in the way there. But it also just goes to show that this website is not necessarily one that's really meant to last because it's not built in a way where you would actually feel super trustworthy ordering your real silver products through here. And the truth is, there's a little piece of the description that I think completely gives away what exactly is actually going on. And it doesn't make any sense because the pictures that they included themselves completely contradict it. And if you were just scrolling down the website, I mean, I really don't know how you would even necessarily notice this because these seem to be genuine American Silver Eagles pictured here. And if you go through the actual details of the coin highlights, they're talking all about the American Silver Eagle itself, the design, the popularity. You come to look at the back here, it says 1 ounce fine silver right there. And even beyond all of this, I used a website known as TinEye to actually reverse image search one of the pictures included by a reviewer on this website, and it had 0 matches, implying that most likely that person actually took a picture of a coin in hand, maybe not the one that they received, but the reviewer went above and beyond if they were faking it in order to do so, because this image exists according to TinEye's 50.2 billion images search nowhere else on the entire internet, meaning that they didn't just jack American Silver Eagle pictures off of Google Images in order to use those. But in full truth, I don't know why I thought that could sound normal, but truthfully, this website is kind of like that one cake that you baked where you thought that no one would notice the fact you accidentally threw in 2 tablespoons instead of 2 teaspoons, but the only problem was the ingredient that you happened to triple was baking salt, And just like that cake, it only takes one word in this entire description for the whole website to leave a bitter taste in my mouth. That word being plated, coming before eagle, because what that means is that they're actually selling quote unquote American silver eagles, which are just base metal coins that they've plated in silver and then designed to look like American silver eagles. And the reason that I feel like this website is a scam is because they have real pictures of American silver eagles on the website, or if they're perfectly replicating the design, what they are then doing is falsely marking coins as bullion that are actually not, because the coin nowhere distincts that it is actually not a real silver bullion coin, but rather says 1 ounce fine silver on the back. It also is stealing intellectual property from the US government or whoever happens to hold the trademark to the American silver eagle design if they're actually perfectly replicating it, or if they're using images of a real coin that they're not selling, then they are actually running a scam. I'm pretty sure you could say, even if the description specifies that they're plated, that if the only images included are of a coin that they are not selling, that at the very least the website's extremely misleading. This is also the #1 thing showing up in Google Ads when you search for American silver eagle, or at least when I did a few times. So I feel like it's just something that I wanted to address, because anyone who happens to fall for it just is not going to be very happy with what they buy unless they are actually aware they're buying, plated coins that are not really silver at all. But on top of everything else, I feel like this website was set up in a way where you're supposed to believe that it actually is a crazy sale, because the coins are originally marked around $39 a piece. They're over 50% off. And if you saw this at a first glance, I mean, $40 is actually a pretty reasonable price for an American silver eagle. So you might just be inclined to believe that this sale that I'm sure is always going on is actually just a crazy deal that you happen to find. And again, it's the first thing showing up in Google's actual suggested ads. So I couldn't necessarily blame someone entirely if they were really new to the game and they happened to fall for this. But beyond everything else, when you look at the name, it literally says TM next to American Silver Eagles, as if implying that these are actual trademarked American Silver Eagles, or that the product you're buying is in some way trademarked, which I can't imagine that they own a trademark to something called American Silver Eagles that is their own distinct product. So that also seems extremely misleading, and ultimately I just think that unless this is in some way being done with the US Mint and these coins were actually issued by them as plated coins, then I just can't really see how this is actually in any way like even legal to do. But with that all being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed the quick video. That is it for this one. Peace. I'm sure you're wondering why there was anything left on your scroll bar. This is actually one of the websites that was from the thumbnail, and the reason I had to make a special addendum, or however you would say that word, for this is because they actually are selling American Silver Eagles for $17.98, down from $37, so $1 less. But when you scroll down the product details, it literally says contains 1 ounce of 999 fine silver. So I guess this is an even bigger scam than the last one, or maybe somehow this would be legitimate. Yeah, I'm not going to be the guy who spends his money to test it out, but if I'm somehow wrong and anybody ever actually gets real legitimate silver from these services, then obviously I will go and take this video down. But as of now, it is really meant to stand as a warning to something that is pretty much the equivalent of a wish.com scam to me. But with that all being said, that is truly it for this one. Now, really quickly want to say, if you didn't already check it out, I do have a giveaway for silver running on my channel as well. Forgot to mention that before. So if you do want to check that out, I will leave a link to it in the description. I'll try to put up a card as well on the screen for it. But that is now finally it for this video. Peace.